Back with personal injury attorney Stewart Vance with Vance Law Firm for our Ask the Attorney segment. Nick talked about spring. It's almost spring break season for a lot of folks, and I'm sure you get a lot of phone calls during spring break season. I always ask you this: if you're heading to the beach, a lot of people head to Florida. I recommend Alabama beaches because I'm biased, but if you're heading to Florida or anywhere out of state, I know especially when you're booking online, companies ask for travel insurance. Is that different? Is that something you all recommend? And when something happens, if something happens, hopefully it doesn't, how does that work with you all? Does that fall under personal injury?
Yeah, absolutely. Personal injury can be physical or financial. So yeah, great question. It really depends on the people making the plans and how confident they are those plans are they're gonna take see them through. You know, if there's any issue at all, you know, somebody in the family's been sick, whatever, and there might be a cancellation, it may be wise to buy the insurance. And then it becomes just like any other insurance contract between you and the insurance company. If something goes wrong, there's going to be some specifics that it covers or doesn't cover. If people run into problems, they're not getting their money back, we do handle some of those cases. More importantly, keep in mind that if you travel outside of the state of Alabama, and back to say car wrecks, you're under the jurisdiction of where the wreck happens, not where you're from. So that we get a lot of cases in spring break from the Alabama beaches, people from out of state. They've come through and they've had an accident somewhere. They're en route to the beach or at the beach. And likewise, folks from our area that travel to other places, we've handled cases all over the country where someone had been traveling to wherever, whether it's California, Vegas, any other beaches around the country, New York, wherever, and they've had an accident in a cab or in a bus or on their rental car. We can handle those. We can handle it from our office, even though it might be in another state. We have lawyers licensed in most states around the country that we can, facilitate helping them wherever it might have happened.
So always important to keep in mind, especially if you do have spring break plans. We have a caller on the line from Montgomery. What's your question?
My question is, I have a neighbor that had a privacy fence painted, and the paint came through the fence and got on my automobile, and I was wondering which way is my best route to pursue getting reimbursement for getting the paint off of my vehicle.
Yeah, there is you're required to sort of, there's a legal term called mitigate your damages. So if it's a situation where it's eating away at the finish on your vehicle, you probably need to go ahead and get it taken care of first, and then, or at the same time, while you're looking to hold the responsible party responsible. If it was a painting company doing that, reach out to them. They're going to typically have insurance that covers what they do, what their business is, and that's painting. So if the painting goes awry and it got on the vehicle or whatever it might be, that's the first place I would start. Whomever was doing the painting, they typically are going to cover and carry insurance while they're doing the job. So that'd be the first place. If you run into that, if that doesn't do it, maybe the homeowner's policy, if let's say the painter didn't have insurance.
Or the neighbor did the painting.
Yeah, the neighbor did the painting and their homeowners may cover it, but is another option. So a little more details are necessary. Did they tell you they were doing it? Is because when you put the fence, if it's on the property line, you guys are sharing that. And like one side's theirs, one side might be yours. If it's all on his property, now they've maybe trespassed when they're doing painting on their side. So a lot of factors can come in to play. If that didn't give you a good enough answer, we can reach back out to you afterwards and get a little more details and go back and forth with a better description of what might have happened.
But you said step one, look into getting the car fixed, or maybe getting a quote for getting it fixed.
Exactly. If if it's just okay, I got to get the paint off, and someone needs to do that, that's not as urgent. But I'm thinking if
it needs to be repainted or
that's right. That's right. Or the situation would be, and the example would be, let's say something caused a hole in the roof. Well, you can't wait 6 months and let rain keep coming in and then hold somebody responsible for all the damage from the water. They're responsible for the damage to the roof. You've got to make plans to get that patched or completely redone. You can hold them responsible for what that costs you, but you've got to stop the damage from getting any worse. That's right. That's probably not an issue here because the paint's on the vehicle. It's probably not going to go anywhere or get worse, but that's something to think about when something bad happens to you, that you're waiting for somebody else to repair it or fix it, and that's not as quick as you would like. So sometimes that's something that pops up.
And he was able to reach you here as well as our other callers. If they weren't able to reach you here, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, it's as easy as dialing 3 for me, 333-3333, or go to thevancelawfirm.com or WSFA.com and leave a question online. We'll try to get to you on Thursday.
Yep, you can always leave those questions there. If you can't call in live for whatever reason, we will try to answer those next week. Stewart, as always, thanks so much for joining us here on Alabama Live.
Great to see you, as always.